If you believe Bitcoin is a bubble, well, it's just been inflated even more. In less than 2 days, the virtual currency has swept past milestone after milestone. First, this is how much Bitcoin has risen so far this year. It's seen a more than 1,600% surge, and it rose above the $16,000 mark as well, or higher, depending on which exchange you followed. But let's zoom in on the more recent action over there, and over the last 7 days, it's surged 67%. So the big question, as always, is why? Well, the most recent bit of good news for the cryptocurrency is that Australia's main exchange operator, ASX, says it'll start using the technology that drives Bitcoin, the so-called blockchain. It'll use it to process share transactions. Bitcoin fans say moves like these lend the virtual currency more legitimacy. But there have also been warnings about Bitcoin's shortcomings. Some of the world's biggest banks have told US regulators that the financial system is not prepared for the launch of Bitcoin futures. 2 major Chicago-based exchanges are due to begin trading these contracts this month. Now, just to highlight how risky the whole Bitcoin business can be, users say hackers may have stolen almost $70 million worth of Bitcoin after a cyber attack on a big cryptocurrency mining platform. NiceHash allows people to offer up spare computing power to create new Bitcoin. Now, Dr. Daniele Bianchi is an assistant professor of finance at Warwick Business School, and he joins me live from Coventry in the UK. Welcome to Money Talks, Daniele. Bitcoin detractors say that it's simply being driven up by people who don't want to miss out on this rally, and that it has no intrinsic value, either as a store of value or as a currency. Do you agree with that?
Well, what I think is that, as of now at least, you can see Bitcoin more as an asset class rather than actual method of payment. If you see the number of transactions which are actually cleared in Bitcoin for buying goods and services, is actually a tiny fraction of the overall trading activity, which essentially means that, you know, people is trading Bitcoin for the sake of it, not really for buying goods and services. So you can really see Bitcoin as an asset class rather than a method of payment, which is kind of fundamental against the origins of Bitcoin per se, which, you know, the origin is a peer-to-peer method of payment. But that's what it is at the moment. It's an asset class.
But do you even consider it an asset in the truest sense of the word? Because an asset denotes something that can hold value. And it's arguable whether even Bitcoin does that.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Actually, that's true. You can actually, I think the best comparison with Bitcoin is gold. Its supply is limited, very much like gold, and it's the type of asset that, you know, people don't exchange gold per se. You know, you buy futures and you exchange futures on it. So when people say that Bitcoin is a store of value, it essentially means that it's the type of asset where you invest in to basically escape turmoils in financial markets, or to escape inflation, to hedge inflation, to, you know, kind of circumvent capital control and so on and so forth. So it's an asset class of particular type. It's a very particular type of asset class.
Daniele, now we're shortly going to be seeing the launch of futures contracts on the CME Group and the CBOE in Chicago. Yep. Do you think this is going to reduce the volatility of Bitcoin that we've seen so much of?
Yeah, that's the purpose. That's the purpose of having the future contract. Try to give to, you know, mainstream instruments to investors, retail investors and institutional investors, why not, a mainstream instrument to trade Bitcoin, and then hopefully kind of normalize and regularize the price process, because we should actually remember that what drives Bitcoin at the end is the aggregate demand, because the supply of coins is fixed. As of now, there are about like 17 million coins, and we know that by 2040 there will be 20 million coins max. So everything is driven by demand, and hopefully future contract will give some kind of normalization for the price process. And indeed, to some extent,
Very quick final question. Sorry to interrupt you. Do you think we're going to see it crash in the next 3 months, let's say?
Well, that's That's a very good question, but I think that the reality is that nobody knows. It's very difficult to say what is the intrinsic and fundamental value of Bitcoin. Nobody really understands that, so it could be that it's in a bubble. Probably it is. Reality is that nobody knows when this bubble can actually bust. It could be in a month, it could be in 3 months, it could be 4 months. Actually, in my opinion, the big risk here is the regulatory risk, meaning that, you know, as soon as legislator will step in and, you know, regulate Bitcoins, that could actually be a game changer. As of now, I don't see any big risk for
the fall, is what you're saying. Dr. Daniele Bianchi, Warwick University, thank you very much indeed.